BCPS 的中文空间。Welcome to the BCPS Chinese Zone.
So let's start with the question. What grade are you in? Now you can ask this to any student in English, but in Chinese we have to change the question depending on where that person is in school. So for a student in elementary school, we're going to ask this question. 你上几年级？跟我说，你上几年级？ For a middle school student, we'll ask them, 你上初几？你上初几？ For a high school student, we will say, 你上高几？你上高几？ And for a university student, we will say, 你上大几？你上大几？ So what do you notice about each one of these questions? Yeah, they all have this question word 几. Now 几 means how many. So in this case, it's asking for the number for that grade level. So what we'll do when we answer this question is we will take out 几 and we will put in the number that goes with that grade level. Also, if you look at each one of these questions, they each have the character shang. Now, shang in this case would mean enrolled in. So, which grade level are you enrolled in? 你上几年级？你上初几？你上高几？ And 你上大几? So, school in China is broken into three parts. We have 小学is elementary school. 中学 This is going to be our secondary school. And finally, 大学 This is university. So in China, 小学 is grades 1 through 6. 中学 is grades 7 through 12. And 大学 is your undergraduate years of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Alright, now I want to take a closer look right here at 中学 because 中学 is split into two parts. We have 初中 and 高中 初中 would be our 7th through 9th grade, and 高中 would be our 10th through 12th. So if you look at these, 初, remember from the question before, 你上初几? This is the 初 for middle school. 中 is for 中学. If the question, what grade are you in? 你上高几? The 高 here is for high school, and 中 is for 中学. Alright. So for 小学, pretty simple. We have first grade. 一年级. For second grade, 二年级. For third grade is 三年级. What would fourth grade be? 很好，四年级，五年级 and 六年级. Alright, so if I ask somebody, let's say I ask you a question, 你上几年级? The answer would be 我上. We're going to put here that number for the grade level. So if it's first grade, you'd say 我上一年级. If you're in second grade, you'd say 我上二年级. Alright, moving on to 初中. We have 初一. Right, so we have our middle school, our first year in middle school. 初一 would be the equivalent of our 7th grade. Then we have 初二. 初二, that's the second year in middle school, would be our equivalent to our 8th grade. And finally, 初三. 初三, the third year in middle school for Chinese students would be equivalent to our 9th grade here in the US. Alright, so our question and answer. To ask somebody what grade they're in middle school, you say 你上初几. 你上初几. The answer would be 我上初一. So I'm in 7th grade. 我上初一. If you're in 8th grade, you'd say 我上初二. If you're in 9th grade, you'd say 我上初三. All right. For high school, we have 高中. 高中. So this follows the same pattern as middle school did. We'll say 高一, 高二, and 高三. 高一, 高二, and 高三. So to ask the question, here we say 你上高几? 你上高几? Right? So what's our answer? So if you're a 10th grade student, what would you say? 很好，我上高一. If you're an 11th grade student, 我上高二. If you're a 12th grade student, 我上高三. 好的, let's move on to 大学. So 大学 is for university. So for our freshman students, they are 大一, 大一. Sophomores are 大二, 大三, and seniors 大四. You can see the pattern here. It's not too difficult. So the question to ask what grade somebody's at in college, we're going to say 你上大几? 你上大几? Right? So just like we did before, we answer the question the same way, but we take out the 几 and we put in that number. So if you're a freshman, you'd say 我上大一, 大一. If you're a sophomore, 我上大二. If you're a junior, 我上大三. And finally, if you're a senior, you'd say 我上大四. Right, let's just go through a couple examples and see if you got it. So, we're talking about he, and he's in 4th grade. So what question do we ask? What's the question? 很好，他上几年级？他上几年级？ So our answer would be 他上4年级。他上4年级。Okay, next example. They are in 10th grade. So 10th grade is going to be equivalent to Chinese high school. So we need to use 高中, right? They're in 高中. So what's the question? 很好，他们上高级。他们上高级。And the answer would be 他们上高二。高一 sorry. 他们上高一。Okay. Next example. 我的哥哥。我的哥哥。哥哥 is older brother, so 我的哥哥 means my older brother. So let's say my older brother is a sophomore in college. Alright, so we need to ask, we're talking about 大学, and sophomore is 大一, no, that's freshman. 大二, so he's a 大二, he's a sophomore. So the question, Well, if we're talking about my brother, the question would be 你的哥哥上大几？你的哥哥上大几？ Our answer would be 我的哥哥上大二。我的哥哥上大二。Finally, last example. Let's say I'm in 7th grade. So where would that put me in Chinese education? 很好. That would put me in middle school in the first year of middle school. So that's 初一. 初一. So the question, 你上初几？你上初几？ And the answer, 我上初一。我上初一。很好。那 that is about all the time for today. 谢谢收听，下次再见。